Financial Style on New Style Radio 98.7
Duane
FM.
Henry, aka
Making
Dudsy,
money
has journeyed
makes
a road
sense.
less travelled. From Handsworth to Hollywood via London, Duane's leap of faith onto a train, in fact, at New Street Station, which is now, of course, Grand Central, to London at just 17 with £200 in his pocket, stars in his eyes and a whole load of belief in his bag, has paid off tremendously. First, it was appearances on a number of the UK's top dramas, which included Casualty, The Bill, Law and Order and Doctor Who, which saw him nominated for a BAFTA Award in 2010. But he's a fan of Quantum Leap, and in 2013 it was time for another, this time to Hollywood, and on to now one of the biggest TV dramas in the world, NCIS, where he plays MI6 Officer Clayton Reeves, back in Birmingham and indeed home. Duane, I'm very, very grateful that you've agreed to join us in the studio this morning. Hello.
Oh man, what an introduction.
Wow, what a man, and what you have achieved. Now, oh, you're very welcome. Now, one of the things that really struck me about yourself, and even doing a little bit of research about your journey to Hollywood, is the incredible self-belief that you have. You know, to get on a train at 17 with just a little bit of money in your pocket and not really know what was going to happen, to venture out into, I mean, Birmingham to London within itself is a journey. Just talk us through what that felt like and why you felt it was so necessary to take the leap at that point.
I thought it was necessary because I felt this, not to get all dramatic, but I just felt this thing inside me that I couldn't ignore. I remember driving with my mum when I was probably about 16 or 15, and then just, you know, looking at her and saying, "Mum, I keep feeling this thing in my head and I don't know what it is, but I just keep feeling it and I get excited, Mum, but I don't know what it is." And she'd be like, "Well, what is it?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but I just feel this thing and I need to," and I knew it was, obviously, I didn't know it was connected to acting. I always loved acting. But I didn't put the two together at the time. I just thought I remember doing this with my hand, like to my head, just like, "Mom, I feel this thing," you know. I know it sounds crazy, but I remember saying that to her, and I guess that was the real start when I started to put everything together and think, maybe I can actually go to London and just try and do something out there because I've got nothing to lose. And I was always a bit disinterested in, I wouldn't say education, but my imagination took over. You know, if there was a fight between the two, imagination would always win. And I just felt like I just had to go and just the mystery of it, you know. I was just curious to see, because I kind of knew what was going to happen if I stayed. It was inevitable what was going to happen. I was just going to do this, and that. That was it. I just figured it, and I thought, you know what, just go for the unknown and just see what you can come with it. And maybe you look like an idiot, but maybe you won't, you know. You obviously think you can do something. You've got this thing inside you that you feel is different. You walk into a room and you just feel different to everyone. I just always felt really subconscious about a lot of things, and I guess that's what it was, and I ran with it, you know. And I think that's the difference between me and a lot of children who probably don't make that choice, because it's that voice. I can't explain it, but you've got to listen to it, you know. A lot of the time it's not guiding you the wrong way. It's always, you've got to listen to that, you know. I always tell kids and people, you know, don't listen to your head, your heart or your soul. Build a relationship with the three.
Yeah,
you know? You have to build a relationship with the three, because one will always be in front of the other at any given time, you know. So just try and work with all three of them. And I guess that's what I started to do, and then it just started to manifest into something. And then, as I said, this gentleman sitting next to me, he come to the station with me in New Street when I was 17, dapped me and said, "Go do your thing," you know what I mean? And that was it, literally, that was it. It was a goodbye in a suitcase. Turned up at my auntie's, and I swear she didn't even realise I was coming. She gave me the look like, "Oh, you staying?" I had a suitcase and everything, and I was like, "Well, yeah, I'm here now. You told me the other week to come." She was like, "Did I?"
Yeah. Oh, you realised, you thought I meant that, right? One of those.
Yeah.
And there you are.
Yeah,
so,
man.
How do you translate that into then getting an agent, which I suppose for you was the start of that journey into acting?
Yeah, I kind of, obviously in college, knew you needed an agent in London. I'd read like books like Contacts and Stage, and I'd always know, okay, you need an agent, you've got to find an agent. I'd always just hang on to any little thing I knew of, how to act in little workshops, just anything, because I didn't know where the opportunity was going to come from, so I just stuck out for everything. And then when I got to London, I knew I needed an agent. I didn't really have any contacts. I did a couple of things in Birmingham. I did a Norman Beaton project when I was about 15 or 16. I got far in it, but I didn't get to the end and I didn't sign. I met an agent, I won't say her name, but she passed on me. And I was really excited, and I thought, just sign me and I will show you what I can do. She passed on me.
She's regretting that now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah, she probably is a better, you know, but it's, you know, it happens, and I probably wasn't ready anyway. And then, I got to my uncle's, he lived in London, and then I just said to him, let's do this, you know. And I said it was 100 emails or CVs or agents, but he said it was around 200 or 300. So we literally took a headshot in his kitchen with a lamp, got the lamp, I was holding the lamp next to my head, and just like, go on, take it now. And he was like, all right, curve your head that way a bit. That was my first headshot.
Wow.
Literally with a little CV that was over animated. I didn't do half the stuff I said in it. And I just sent it out to a couple hundred people or whatever, and then I got 3 or 4 replies of different agents, and one of them was my agent for 10 years. So that's how that started, you know. And then once I booked her as an agent, for 6-7 months, I started doing my first little gigs. I did an afternoon play, but shot back in Birmingham. I did a show called Dream Team, and it is. And then just loads of little gigs, and just kept my head down and just watching people off camera. Because remember, I didn't go to uni. A lot of my friends from college went off to uni. I just had to sit down, and while we wasn't filming, just watching how people move off camera, asking this question about that, what does this do, what does that? That was my schooling, because I had no other way. I didn't have no other acting classes. I just jumped straight into the deep end.
So it's like learning on location.
Easily, yeah.
Wow. So, as you say, you go into this environment where now all of a sudden you're learning, and you're around, and you can almost smell, touch what it is that you want to do. How long did it take you before you got your first sort of role on what would be considered, say, something that's more notable, something that people would recognise the name of?
See, I'd say, I don't know, I'd say something like Dream Team, because it was a 3-part mini-series. It was my first lead, playing like an 80s football in the 80s, you know, and it was quite sort of interesting to do, because it was sort of John Barnes was the only type of person I could relate to, so I watched a lot of his videos and tapes. And that was when I first started. That was the first thing I got stuck into.
Right.
And it was on Sky. It wasn't great, but I think the first thing, like the big thing where people would actually stop me on the street and just be like, "You're that guy," was probably West 10 out of the end. A show I did on BBC Three, along with a great London ensemble cast, you know, Ashley Walters, Ashley Madekwe, Noel Clark, and directed by Menoj Huda, the kid over director.
Yes.
And I was the lead in it, and it's set in London, so being from Birmingham to come to one of these shows and be the lead, and then to get noticed for it, that was, you know, and then obviously Dub Plate Drama was a pretty big show in terms of cult classic of British urban television. So I've been very fortunate, you know what I mean? It's just been an absolute dream. It's been incredible when I look back and see everything I've done, from Doctor Who to filming a show in South Africa, going to Iran to do a film. You know, it's incredible.
Working with Madonna.
Working with Madonna, yeah, she's awesome. You know, I've got stories I can tell about her. You know, just sitting there asking her little questions. You know, I probably shouldn't ask, but you know what I mean. But she's really cool. You know, she was really nice to me. So yeah.
Now, you, as you say, you say fortunate in terms of landing some of these roles quite quickly and maybe early in your career. What about the downtime? What about the times when you're auditioning? Were there other things you had to do to ensure you were surviving?
Oh man, yeah, just keep my wits about me, man. You know, I had to keep my wits about me, and I had to keep my head above water, because it's a lonely road, you know, a very, very, very lonely road. And I always tell people who want to get into it, if you want to get into it to get to the point where I'm at, it is very lonely, and it's a lot more lows than highs anyway, for me. Like, you know, but you only need a couple highs to change the game, you know. But it's very lonely road to walk. A lot of vulnerable days, lonely days, tears, homelessness, next meal, embarrassments. You know, people knowing your face from this show, but you have to get a normal job here because you have to pay your bills, and you know, just very awkward situations that you have to live with. That comes with being an actor, you know. And yeah.
What would you say, as you mentioned some of those things, which one would you say was your hardest challenge?
In terms of downtime?
Yeah.
Hardest challenge in terms of downtime, probably dealing with personal issues like family stuff and just life in general. That, like, you know, my own sort of trials and tribulations I got to go through as a man. You know, also as a black man, and trying to be a leader to these, you know, young people who look at me. A lot of people I probably never meet, but they're still looking. You know. Those things, you know, just trying to keep on the straight and narrow, and practice what I preach. It's very difficult sometimes because you're tested in many ways, but you got to keep your faith, and you know, you got to keep your spirit, you know, and your chakras level. You know, you got to keep everything on point, because it's all it takes is one blip. Someone explained it to the other day. I forget who it was, but they described my career like blowing up a balloon for like 5 minutes, and all it takes is one pin to pop it. That's that simple. So you've got to protect your faculties, you know.
Indeed, well put. So would you say there were instrumental people that maybe, you know, that none of us know about, that you were able to lean on, that you were able to get that kind of support from?
Yeah, well, first off, probably my sister. She's 11 months younger than me, and she's always been in my life as long as I can remember. And she's like a silent hero, you know, in my life. You know, she's always been there. I could cry now talking about it, but I won't. But she's the only person I really tear up about, because I just love her so much, you know. And she's my inspiration. She's my little sister, but she's a tough cookie, you know. And she's protective of me. And I think people like her are my hero. You know, I just do things for people like her. Obviously, my mom, you know, my hero. She had me very young and showed everyone that doesn't really mean anything if you keep your head straight. You know, a lot of family members. Carl George. Very big pillar in the Birmingham community. I've known him since I was 15. I can go to him and talk to him about everything. I've been through so much in my life in the last 12 odd years in London, and you know, on the phone to him, you know, and him just praying for me and helping me in any which way he can, you know. So people like him, and obviously my agents in London who supported me, and you know, my friends and people around me, like this gentleman sitting next to me, you know, Nicholas, my boy. He always kept me on the straight and narrow, you know. Although I was back and forth in Birmingham a lot, he'd always, you know, nah, don't go in that car, you go over there, and like, don't do that, come with me, or stay there, you know, things like that, little things like that, which probably saved my life in the big picture, you know. I'd always have a little moan, like, why can't I, you know, but you realise now why they were doing that, you know, because it takes a village to raise, or it takes a village to do what I'm doing, you know. It's not just me, I know that I would be where I am. No. You know, I can't high-five myself.
No, well, indeed, and you know, I think one of the things that, of course, we've recognised here in Birmingham, because it is lovely to have you home, and you know, I'll go be real, you know, bearing in mind I see this as the beginning of your stardom. Like, I don't know if the next time you come back to Birmingham, we're going to see you on the red carpet. We're going to be like trying to touch you from a distance. But I think the outpouring of love and support, and people that have wanted to speak to you and see you and take that time with you, I think has been indicative of how proud the city is, and your family and the people that are connected. And that's a testament to clearly what you've been doing, as you say, those 12, 13 years that maybe people don't see. You know, we talk about the overnight success, which only took 13 years, you know, that sort of thing. So I want to move it over to Hollywood, because then you take this leap of faith and you say, right, that's it. You set yourself targets, and you said 10 years in London, and whichever way it goes, you were going to Hollywood. Obviously, again, the journey is jumping on a plane, isn't it? But what about the mental and the emotional journey of moving now to not just a different city, but a different part of the world where you don't necessarily have your sister and other members of your family or the people that have been tight with you? What was that like?
Oh man, it was the same process of moving to London. I think I just felt like I had to keep my head down. You know, I had to do it. I had to look at the big picture, and I mentioned it with the meeting I had the other day with everyone at the ACE, that I was looking at the really big picture, talking about us coming from Africa, going to Jamaica, and then coming over on the ship. You know, I'm second generation. I was trying to think, wow, we can go back to America and make some noise, you know, and show my granddad and that he didn't come here for no reason. You know, that's how I was looking at it. I wanted to just show everyone, first generation or those who come over on the Windrush and that yo, we can still raise kids in England and do something back in the States. That's what I was looking at. I was like, I can just make this global and just make my face echo around the world. That was what I wanted to do with it. And I just had no fear. I really did have limited fear, because I'm just very confident in what I can do, my abilities, and I just felt like I had to do it for, not the culture, it sounds really, but I just had to do it for my people where I'm from, because you don't get a lot of good press from Birmingham. I've never heard a lot of good press from Birmingham. Going back to, you know, Charlene and Letitia, you know, rest in peace, you know, things like that. I was only young, and things changed my life, you know, they shocked me, man. So it made me want to do something for the better and make people, you know, smile rather than just frown all the time, you know.
No, indeed. Now, you seem to exude a lot of integrity in how you communicate with the world, and you know, you've turned down projects, for example, with Oprah, where, you know, maybe the money was good, but you weren't feeling it. How important is it to you that you are indeed true to yourself?
It's the most important thing to me, because every character I play, as I said, it bears a piece of my soul forever. You know, it doesn't just disappear. It goes to the land of broken promises. You know, I have that, you know, in my mind's life, it's living somewhere. You know, that's as far as I'm concerned. So it's that important to me, you know. Everything I do and play has to come from a place of sincere honesty, because that's how I work. You know, everyone has their process, and this is my process. You know, I just go in my Rain Man zone, and it just feels natural to me. Anything that upsets that natural habitat, I'm not feeling it. So,
how do you decide on a role though? Is it literally a gut feeling?
Yeah. I know straight away. I just have this thing. I can't fall in love with it. Sometimes you do, but I don't know. Sometimes I know from the first page. West 10 LDN. The minute I opened the first page of West 10 LDN for the audition, I knew I was Orin. I knew it. You couldn't tell me nothing. I knew that was me. And it's just little things like that. You just have to trust, you know? You have to trust it.
So I watched a video of you, and it's like a sort of documentary you did I think it was when you were first in LA, or you weren't there very long anyway. And part of your regime was your workout and all of these different things. I mean, talk us through a day of Duane Henry. What does your day look like these days?
These days or then? Oh, now?
Well, now that, you know, you're on NCIS, like, what does that sort of day look like?
It's pretty chilled, because it's the same process as any other show. It's just a different set of lights, different stage, different media attention, but it's the same process. You know, you can have a call time at 6 a.m, you can have a call time at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You go in for one scene in the morning and wait till 6 for one more scene. There is no rhyme or reason to it.
Right.
You know, you just have to go with what the script gives you and how it's set up in the structure of the schedule. You know, so there's no rhyme or reason to it. You know, there's a lot of downtime though, a lot of downtime. So you just gotta keep yourself. You sort of stay ready, as Will Smith always says. You know, it's better than getting ready. So in my general day, I just get up. I don't really watch a lot of films or TV. I read a lot of I watch a lot of documentaries. I read a lot of books. You know, I'm obsessed with Charles Darwin right now, and the Rise of the Beagle, like that book he's got before he was, you know, who he was when he was a young guy. So I'm just taking different journeys and experiencing you know, life from history, geography. I love everything. I soak it all up and I use it in my work. You know. Fiction's great and stuff, but I like the realness, you know. I like. I'm not saying they're facts, but I prefer something that I can, you know, delve into and figure out for myself.
That's interesting you say that, you know, because it's one thing. I know exactly what you mean, but I do that, I think, from a radio perspective. So I actually understand where you're coming from. Okay, so I'm really intrigued to know, because I asked you at the meeting last week at the ACE Studios. I asked you how you maintained your craft, and you said, "Do you know what? I think I'm pretty much natural at this." And so, actually, that maybe the acting lesson bit you don't do. But it seems to me that you still do a lot of different types of work, whether that be on your mindset, whether that be on other areas. So, tell me about that. I mean, how do you keep yourself fit, shall we say, mentally?
As I said, just asking yourself a lot of why nots. I do that all the time. I just say why not, and it always takes you somewhere else, you know. And I just never settle for what's in front of me. I always ask what's okay, but what's over there? Okay, now show me that, but what's over there now? You know. So I'm always on the move constantly. You know, I sleep 5-6 hours a day. I have done for the last 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. I've always go early every day since I was a kid. I'm one of them kids who gets up at like 5 or 6 for no reason.
Just raring to go.
Just looking around, because I just feel like I'm missing out, man. If I sleep till 11 or 12, I feel like I've missed out on something. I start feeling sick, so I can't do it. My mom gets up early too. I've always been like that, so I'm always up and active. I'm never, touch wood, never really had hangovers, you know, from my crazy birthday party nights, because I just don't let anything stop me, you know, because it's bigger than me. Whatever I'm doing, I can't look for excuses. I'm at a point where I haven't got time for that right now, so I just gotta keep moving.
And is your physical fitness part of that?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, it does help. You know, obviously working on TV and film, I might get asked to jump over this and jump over that, so I've got to be a little bit active. You know, I mean, I'm 31 now. I'm not that spring chicken I was doing Dream Team when I was 19 or 20, but you know, I still move a little bit. Yeah.
Well, we saw this. I mean, I think there was one scene in NCIS where you just dived on a man. I was like, okay, there you go. That's that running up that mountain helped with that, I'm sure.
Yes, we're all running up mountains.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, listen, we've got to go to a quick break, but when we come back, I always ask us to share what their message would be, because obviously we have a lot of people listening to this show, young people as well as grown people, who, you know, have or may believe that actually they have something in them. They do have a gift give to the world. And so I'd love to know what advice you would give people, and what really you would want your message to be to Birmingham. So we'll go to that after this. Welcome back. It's just coming, it's just gone 25 to 12 actually. Remember, after 12 o'clock we've got Billy and Tintin coming into the studio to make sure your Friday afternoon is jamming. And of course we've got drive time from 3, as we do on every single Friday afternoon at 6 o'clock. You've got DJ K, who's coming in with the dance mix connection, and of course Richie J has got your R&B from 8 o'clock, so you know where you need to be on a Friday. And in fact today is a very special Friday, as joining us in the studio is Duane Henry of newly NCIS fame, but he's been around for a while. He's travelled from Birmingham to Hollywood, and grateful for him stopping by the studio this morning. Welcome back, Duane. We didn't scare you off.
No, not yet. You've handcuffed me to the chair anyway.
Well, are you going to tell everybody my secrets? Come on now. Come on. We're losing the magic of radio. Anyway, so we've talked a lot, thank you, about your journey, about some of the things that maybe are not so obvious when it comes to actually achieving what you've achieved at the moment. Everybody's clapping, and I know moving forward in the future there's going to be very many more claps to be had. We're already getting ready for 10 seconds of fame, one of those where we see you on the red carpet and go, guess what, I met him, I spoke to him, I actually did. Yeah, one of those. Or if you sort of see me one day, just trailing the streets of Hollywood going, does anybody know Duane? Because I'm sure he'll remember me. Yeah, then you'll know where that comes from. I'm playing. But obviously it's not an overnight thing. It's a lot of work that goes into you having achieved what you have so far, and I'm sure much more work to come in terms of what you want to achieve. Do you know what that is? Have you sort of got further goals right now that are further or in excess of NCIS?
I tend not to look at the big picture a lot of the time. I do, obviously, to get a reminder of what I'm trying to do, but for the most part I just look at the step in front of me and try to deal with it and trying to master that next step each time, and just whatever comes my way. I just see myself as a blank canvas where you can just create any masterpiece and shake it up and then start again, and then shake it up and start again. So I think being an artist anyway, there is no blueprint. You can draw outside the lines, you can rock, you can do whatever you want, just don't mark yourself into a corner. So I feel like I can do anything I want, if it's as long as it's realistic to me, and as I said, honest, and I portray it in a light that I feel is very sincere. I'm very much I like vulnerability in terms of my work. People like what characters, I like vulnerable characters where you're just not too sure yet. He's not too sure of himself. He's still trying to figure out that. I love that stuff,
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I'm interested to see how your character in NCIS, MI6 Officer Clayton Reeves, will develop, actually, because I think there are those signs that you see, that we have seen of maybe those elements of vulnerability that are there, and you've portrayed them very well. So I'm really interested to see how that happens next season. Is there anybody in Hollywood who you look up to?
Anyone in Hollywood I look up to? Cliche, but yes. I like Sidney Poitier. Yeah, he's like a hero of mine. He doesn't get the praises I think he really recognises. He does, but not as he did a lot, man.
It's not so much these days, is
no,
it?
Man, and
people are not talking about him as much.
And he had it really tough. Talk about the Oscars being tough now. Try and beat Sidney Poitier before he won.
Well, there you go.
So it's all perception, how you look at it.
I was going to ask you that question actually, because there's a lot to be said about being a man in general, and a black man is a whole different kind of challenge. Obviously there's been a lot of things going on in the States. How secure do you feel as a black man in America?
I just put it this way, I live in a world called you never know. That's where I live. And I can just do what I can, but the world I live is called you never know.
Yeah, and that can go either way, I suppose. I just wondered that with all the controversies recently with things like the Oscars, and there being a lot of conversation about there not being so much opportunity for black actors, do you perceive that to be true?
It's getting a bit better now. Yeah, I think they made an example this pilot season. I don't know what pilot season is, but pilot seasons where from sort of middle of January to the end of March, where it's like all the actors go to LA for the season, all the pilots get made, and you get a chance to be in 100 different shows, and one might get picked up, and or whatever else. So this pilot season, I think the controversy with the old Oscars with black people and whatever else, that was just at the start. start pilot season. So I think they made an example, and I think I went up for more TV shows. I think my agent said than anyone in Hollywood in terms of my sort of ethnicity and where I fit in. I'm like a young black man. I went up for everything, anything. I was having 10 auditions a week, knowing at least 10 different scenes a week, and you have to learn it in a minute. And you know, that's the levels I was playing at, you know. So yeah, it was very, very tough, very, very tough, very, very tough pilot season.
But that's the work ethic that's going on behind what we all see.
That's it. You just see the end result and the shininess, man. But before that shininess, I had to shine my war boots.
Did you find it was a little bit ironic that you mastered your American accent and then get a part where you're British?
You just never know in this game. Before I got NCIS, I actually got another show called Full Intentions. It was a film. It was a film, and now they're doing a TV show. And I booked a reoccurring in the TV show, and I'm British in that as well. So I wasn't too surprised when this came along. But I did another project called Paradise Pictures last year that was set in the 40s. American silver screen, and I played a young jazz musician named Aldo Boyd, and it was the 40s and it was American, and that was where I really sunk my teeth into it, and I thought that was what was going to propel me, but I didn't pick it up, so I just got my head back down, and it's just weird how it is British, but you know, as I said, it's all about the character.
Well, indeed, absolutely. Okay, I had to ask a couple of Hollywood questions. I know people out there do want to know the answers to some of those things. So, going back to what I was saying before, obviously this has been a journey, and this is a point in time for you. But what do you say to people who right now are out there in inner city Birmingham, have a gift to give, and don't know if they have the belief that they really can do it?
It's your obligation to shine, man. Pretty much. We're all kings and queens in our own right, you know. You just got to find what's yours and own it, you know. As I said, I knew acting came natural to me, so I ran with it because it came so natural to me. It was a gift I felt was given to me. It can't be taken away from me no matter what you do. So it's priceless, and I'll always make something off it because I knew it was my gift. So I think recognizing your gift early on helps, you know, and just realizing what comes natural to you, because a lot of people don't want to work hard. I admit I don't like working hard. I don't want to. So I'd rather work smart. But I'm also like a duck, because you see a duck floating across the water. It looks lazy, just chilling. You put your eyes underneath that water. That's me, you know. Yeah. So I feel like you just gotta find what's yours and own it, and just not give in to peer pressure. And you gotta understand your closest 4 or 5 friends around you, that they're a strong representation of you as a person, and you've got to be honest, man, and you've got to have honest people around you, and you've got to be honest with yourself, you know. If you want this, you know, glitz and glamour, and you know, people to look up to you and people chasing you, whatever you want, cars, clothes, money, whatever your motivation is, whatever it is, let it be your motivation, but just get there, you know. It's all about the end result.